Hello and welcome to Mystic Visions. This is a monthly tarot reading for Taurus for February. And this is a general reading using my adaptation of a Celtic cross. And if you're a regular subscriber to the channel, you may have noticed I haven't been as active this month. And that's because my daughter was just born on January 23rd. So I may just do the monthly readings for a little while until things kind of settle down, but we'll see. Alright, so let's see what's going on for Taurus. Alright, Taurus. Alright, Three of Cups. Happy. Okay, so some good energy here for Taurus. Pretty nice. So right off the bat, we have for your current situation, the Three of Cups. And Three of Cups, you know, there's a lot of friendship going on, fellowship. You're feeling like you're enjoying life to a degree here at least. And, you know, there's some happiness. There's some emotional fulfillment. And what's crossing you or influencing you here is this Eight of Coins. And Eight of Coins is, you know, he's hard at work, he's diligent, but the work is fulfilling. This is something that's not tedious so much as it is, well, you know, it could be tedious, but if it is tedious, you're enjoying it. We'll put it that way. So it's not something that feels tedious. It's something that you can get wrapped up in, enraptured, right? And it's fulfilling and it's rewarding as well. So it has a tendency to feed well into the other aspects of your life or the other parts of your life when you're doing something that feels kind of self-fulfilling, right? And so that's great. That's awesome. It looks like mostly good news for you here, so that's good. Most positive reading of the day so far. And what we have for you, what you're leaving behind in the past, is this Page of Wands in the reverse. So this is a lack of a willingness to get things done, to get going. This is, you know, kind of sitting on your hands a little bit, or just, you know, feeling like you're not skilled or not advanced enough, and so you're going away from that. So you're starting to pick up some energy. You're starting to get a little bit of ambition to get things going, to do things. And it doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you have that energy, you keep that ball rolling, it's bound to run into something good, right? So that's good. You're progressing, you're developing and growing. Now what you're moving toward here is the Ace of Cups. And this is, you know, a new emotion, something that you're possibly a little bit resistant to. So, and again, you know, a lot of times this can mean like a negative emotion, but it doesn't necessarily mean a negative emotion. So what this can mean is just an emotion that you've been sort of fighting, and that could be, you know, it could be a very positive thing if the emotion is like, you know, you've been kind of lazy and you've not wanted to embody or adapt to a sort of more busy type of an energy or something like that, right? So this can be a big positive for you. It just, there's something that you've been kind of like not wanting, an emotion you haven't really wanted a piece of, and you're kind of moving more toward it. And what I always say is that every one of your wildest dreams is hiding behind a door called your worst nightmares. And so the things that you might feel like you need to reject from your life, they're still a part of life. And so there's a way of not resisting. It's, you know, judo is based on this principle of not resisting, but allowing whatever forces come your way to just continue on the direction that they were originally going, right? And, you know, in martial arts, if somebody's coming at you, you don't resist them coming at you, but you keep them moving, and they kind of overshoot and move past you, right? And then you have the upper hand. So this is the idea here, is to, whatever you're moving toward, if it's something that you feel might be unpleasant or something that you're just not comfortable with, find a way to maybe do some mental focusing on it in a way that you can kind of just stop resisting it and let it occur. And it may be a little bit more like, even if it's painful, it might be like ripping off a band-aid where it's over with really quickly and you're better off out the other side. The foundation of this situation, or what the kind of there's a new one. The foundation of the situation basically represents what's going on in the subconscious that's kind of causing this whole lesson to appear in your life, or in your what is the universe trying to teach you. And what you have here is strength. So this is not external strength. This isn't like brawny, muscle bound bodybuilder strength. This is internal strength. This is willpower. And this comes from having this unshakable sense of confidence and putting that out there, projecting it. So, there's always like a delicate young lady, and she's with a lion. And that lion could really eat her very easily, but he doesn't, because she projects this sense of calm and strong willpower. And so the lion is normally used to people being quite afraid of him. And that's how he knows how to identify his prey. But because she does not display any sort of fear whatsoever, she has this like unending stability and courage. The lion sees her more as an equal, and in fact may even protect her, even though she might not be able to protect herself physically the way the lion could, right? So this is the lesson that you're being taught here. How do you remain confident and stable, and in the face of things that you might not very well be comfortable facing? So this is kind of telling you a little bit to embody that sort of fake it till you make it type of energy, or to basically, even if you're going through something new, at some point, every expert in a field, at some point they had no idea what they were doing, but they had to go forward anyway. They had to do it anyway. And so that's kind of what you need to tap into here, is recognize that you don't have to be perfect at things. You don't have to be good at things. But you do have to keep going, and you have to keep trying. And it's better to just keep on moving than it is to let yourself get upset about not being able to accomplish what you want. Because of course you can't, just starting out especially. But even later on in your quest to become good at anything, you're going to run into a lot of failures, and that's a good and normal process as part of mastery, right? So you have to not be afraid of that, and that may be the emotion that you're afraid of this failure, of falling back or something like that. Everything might be going pretty good right now, and you don't want to take risks or something like that. But that emotion, that failure, it can be a positive thing if you learn how to kind of reframe what it means to you. And it can be like, if you're not, one of my favorite mentors says, if you're not failing, you're not innovating enough, right? So what you have in your conscious mind, in your crowning thoughts, is the Two of Wands. So there's a little bit of planning going on here. And there's a lot of wands and coins in this reading. You do have a cup or two cups, so, there's a little bit of balance there, but the majority of it is the wands and the coins. What's really missing is the swords. There's no swords here at all, and I take that to be a positive, honestly. We're a society plagued by overthinking, so the fact that there's no swords, I think that's kind of one of the reasons that you're in such a bright space, is because you're just kind of going with it. You're moving with things. You're acting. You're involved. You're feeling emotions. You're not overthinking the situation, which is what's causing a little bit of this fluidity. But with the Two of Wands, there's a little bit of a planning involved. So you're trying to figure out exactly what you want to do or where you want to go. There's a kind of a looking to the horizon instead of being totally focused on what's going on in front of you and that kind of thing. And so the one thing is, if you're going to make a plan for the future, a little bit of thought probably does need to get involved. So you may need to kind of shift a little bit of your focus into some sort of logical analysis of what you want to do, where you want to go, and what you have to change in order to accomplish those things. So, and you know, I don't want to stray you from the path that you're on, because it looks like it's really great. But if you're trying to figure out things for the future, then there's going to have to be a little bit less living in the moment, being enraptured in your work and enjoying life, and a little bit more thought about what you might do or where you might go, just to sort of synergistically set off this new journey. I'm not suggesting a complete paradigm shift in your life, because this is a hard place to get to, and it's a good energy to maintain. But again, it's just, you may need a little bit like the salt in a stew. You might need a little bit of it to make the whole thing work. Otherwise, it might just fall flat, right? So your advice for the situation here, you have the Page of Coins. I need to move these up a little bit. And the Page of Coins is in the reverse here, but in the advice situation, this is kind of telling you to not be afraid to kind of take this new business adventure or something. You've got an idea for doing something that you enjoy, and you can make it into something nice, something that pays off. So don't be too afraid to go down that road, but put some energy into it, put some thought into it, and find a plan of attack here, right? So current environment is the Seven of Coins, and this is this is a person who has put a lot of effort in, they put a lot of work in, and they're watching the fruits of their labor. They're watching it pay off. It's not quite harvest time yet, but they have the ability to see what they're doing and to appreciate it. So there's some influences around you who have done really well, who have essentially fought the good fight. You know, they've stayed in this thing, and they're waiting, watching their success grow. And that can be very infectious for you. That can be very good. They can be good mentors to teach you that sort of resolve to get things done. So there's some good energy around you. And I always say, good environment creates a good, happy mind as well. Your environment rubs off on you. So it's good that you're in this place. Again, like I said, this is a really bright reading. For your fears card, there's the Six of Coins. And so this, I kind of feel like, means that you're afraid to have to ask for too much help, or you're afraid that you're going to need some help instead of being able to be self-sufficient with this, or something like that. There's an alternate. See, this card has kind of two meanings, because there's the person who's giving, who's kind of being charitable, and then there's the people who are receiving too. So you could also be afraid that you don't have enough to help other people. So you may have a really great desire to invest in people that you care about, that you love, or to give to people who are important to you. So you may also have a fear that you're not able to do that. But, there's two possible meanings there. You're either afraid, or maybe both. You could be subject to both of those fears. But either you're kind of afraid of having to ask for help, or you're afraid that you won't be able to help people. So the overall message, what's going on here in the long-term outcome, you have this Four of Wands, but it's in the reverse. So there's a little bit of this resistance to this real happy home. So, the Four of Wands is like really happy home-like energy. It's very similar to the Three of Cups, but this really more focuses around like what makes a happy home. And I have my own personal, I don't know, say hi to the kitty. I don't know if anybody else has ever kind of made this distinction, but I have a way of thinking about the Four Wands, because a home is made of like four walls, right? And I think there's some symbology there. So the way that I like to imagine what's required for a happy home is these four particular types of action, because wands represent action, right? So there are four particular types of action that are required for you to have this happy, healthy home. And the way that I break it down is that the first one is that you have to put energy into the house itself, right? So you have to put maintenance into the house. You have to fix things that are broken. You have to do the laundry and cook and clean and all that kind of thing. So there's work that needs to go into the house itself, right? Then there's some work that needs to go outside the house. You have to go out and you have to get food, you have to get supplies, you have to get the things that you need to repair. You have to buy the wood and all those kind of things. So there's the work that needs to go in outside the house. Maybe you have to get a job to be able to pay the bills, or that kind of thing. And so that's very important as well. A third part, which is often overlooked, is that you have to put energy or work into actually doing nothing or resting. And it actually takes some energy to do that, to devote yourself to closing the mind down a little bit and allowing yourself to have some time for rest. But that's another very important part or aspect of a house. And you sometimes have to make a choice to put effort into doing that, into resting. And that sounds that's a really exhausting way to describe rest, but but nonetheless, it's an important aspect of the house. And then the final aspect of the house is that it has to be a foundation for some sort of direction in your life, right? So it has to be enabling you in some way to do something with your life. This is something that's kind of unique to humans. Animals don't seem to care. As long as they have everything they need, they're pretty much fine. But humans, on the other hand, because we have these minds, unless you can get rid of that mind completely, you got to find some sort of way to placate it throughout your life. And, you don't want to put all of your energy. And see, that's the thing. If you put too much energy into any one of these four wands, the whole thing doesn't work. So it requires this balance between all four of these things. And that's really what you should be searching for, is how do you balance all of these four actions appropriately. So between, making sure you have this happy, healthy, stable household, that you're also able to get some rest, you also have to be able to focus a little bit on, where am I going with this? What am I doing with my life? What kind of goals am I trying to achieve? And so being in the reverse, it might suggest that some part of that equation is a little bit out of balance. And I sort of suspect that it's probably the fourth pillar that I described, where you're going to need to find some sort of direction over what are you doing with your life? What makes you happy or accomplished, right? And if you're not, or it could be the rest as well, because you are diligently at work here. So I can't really tell you exactly what part of your home life is out of balance here, but this is just a reminder to think about all these different ways that your sort of home energy is brought to being, and figure out what is possibly out of balance or needs a little bit more attention. So that's about it for Taurus for February. Great reading. Glad to give you such a positive message in such dark times. No, I think it's looking up. I think it's doing pretty good. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.